this with my friends. 1 second. Okay, so this video is entitled Young, Just, and Looking to Improve Your Dating Life, Your Social Life. This video will actually get you some results. I'm Joseph, I'm the Wing Bro. If you're new to the channel, on the channel I discuss all things cold approach and dating related. It's Thursday night. I love doing lives on a Thursday night. I haven't done one for a while. And so we're going to get into some serious stuff on this live. Hopefully this is going to be useful for you. Well, it will be useful for you, to be honest with you. So I'm going to aim this at young guys specifically, because I'd say young guy, honestly, realistically, as any guy is under the age of about 32, 33. That's realistically young. Sorry if you're 35, you're not quite young anymore. I'm 39, so I'm definitely not young, but I'm not old either. And so the aim is younger guys. This will be very useful if you're in your 20s, but actually this probably be useful for guys in 30s, 40s, 50s as well, who probably just don't have the same experiences that I've had. For various reasons, I indexed on my personal life very hard at a young age, like ridiculously extreme, I would say, like Taliban level extremist, with a nighttime approach and night game and stuff. And then came into daytime approach in my late 30s. And so all of that, over all of this time, I've accrued a lot of experience, like a really crazy amount of experience with the feminine, with women. Yeah. It's interesting thinking back my motivation as well. What was the motivation? I think first of all, the motivation being from the UK. Alexander, how are you, mate? How you doing? You're my single viewer at the moment. Yeah, this is going to be a good live though, mate. It's going to be a good live. Hopefully this is going to maybe attract in or be useful for some of the younger guys. Tucker, how are you? So yeah, we're going to talk happy balls. How are you, mate? How you doing? We're going to be talking all things cold approach and relationship related this evening. I'm just talking about there, my motivation. I think your motivation towards women is completely inherent. It's biological. It's completely normal. What I found was, for me, there was a big cultural disconnect, which I didn't realize until I got a lot older. I just don't really connect that particularly well to British culture, to be honest with you. And so, like, I started off learning quote-unquote game because I just couldn't connect to the girls that well. Could connect to like a some, but a very small percentage, like 5%. As I've got older, I realized that was actually a good thing. That was actually a good thing, because these people were not, they're just kind of dumb. They were just, I've realized as I've got older, the culture here is so perverted, so inverted. That's the best way to describe British culture. When it comes to the relationship between the sexes, it's very weird. There's quite a good dynamic in terms of there's a lot going on in the UK. There's a lot of positives. Quite a good business environment, has been anyway, till recently. So lots of positives, but there's something weird. There was something weird about growing up in this inverted type of climate. It's not too bad in the north, but still, even so, I think it's like basically the higher up you go in the social order in the UK, the more inverted and weird it becomes. So like if you're working class, you won't even notice this stuff. You'll just be in the same normal, probably paradigm that people have always been in. So I grew up middle class, and I was like, this is kind of weird, to be honest. It felt weird, and it's just like that in the middle classes and upper classes, and it's even worse down south in the UK. It's a very inverted, weird thing. So I found myself like getting on, just naturally had an affinity to. It was often, first of all, it was black girls, first of all, Pakistani girls, Indian girls. Why do I get on with these girls better? And then it was like, basically girls from like the rough parts of the city, to be honest. They weren't rough girls. They were nice girls from nice families, but they were from like very working class parts of my city. And I was like, why do I get on with these people? It's normal. Anyway, so I just couldn't fit in basically with my dating life. I still had one. Maybe that's what made me the explorer. I had to break out from an early age to get a girlfriend, even within my own city. And then that just kind of spiraled and spanned on from there. And now I've traveled around the whole world. I've realized, okay, there are some countries where the dynamic is just bizarre. And the English middle class, my God, it's not the place. So yeah. Um, but in a way, I'm grateful because that actually spurred me on to getting this interest in life, getting this interest in life. And I think a lot of guys, when they're young, I do think dating has always been a challenge for younger men. I really do. There's not that many young guys who are just cruising around like killing it because you don't know yourself. The girls have got a natural advantage. They're more mature than you at the same age socially. You don't probably realize how deviant their minds can be. Older guys have a big advantage over you. It's tough for younger guys. So I wanted to do this video, especially for younger guys, if they see this, but also this can be valuable for anyone, I think. And so, yeah, I think as a young guy, you're basically just looking like, can I just pull? Can I just get a girlfriend? You're just looking to get um, some points on the board, basically, as a younger guy. Yeah, African girls are awesome. I agree. I agree. We'll have to do a section on African girls at some point, but they're wow. Yeah, amazing, amazing girls, amazing girls. Um, but yeah, as a young guy, I put here is getting points on the board if you're young. RJ, that's so interesting. Posh English girls are my least favorite demographic to approach. I'm not hating on them at all, but it's my experience. I'd say the same. The only real posh girls who are actually sound are like the literal aristocrats. And it's this weird thing where, like in the UK, like if you've ever met like a literal, actual aristocrat, there's not that many, like Ristos. They don't give a fuck. Yeah, because they're so rich. They're just old gangsters, basically. And they've got this whole lineage and stuff. They tend to actually be really cool. But the whole Sloaney upper middle class, posh middle class thing, it's fucking weird, man. Weird. I'm not into it at all. To me, it's very sterile as well. Like, the girl can look quite good, and then as soon as you interact with them, it's like, oh my god, this is just a sterile human being, right? But yeah, can be tricky for younger guys. Um, I don't think the university system helps because the amount of brainwashing. A lot of girls are going to do the humanities, and it's just pure brainwashing now. I mean, it really is pure garbage. It's not helping the situation. Um, so yeah, but that's why you start off in the UK and you move on to greener pastures. You know, you move on. At the end of the day, you can date anyone from anywhere in the world. So, let the market decide your choices. Um, and yeah, the thing I was going to say here, first of all, is young guys, you just want to get points on the board. And that will be the same if you're an older guy and you've been out of the game for a while. Just say you need to basically just get laid a little bit to begin with. Just get out on some dates, have a few lays, and then you're back in the game, basically. But I think as a young guy, get some points on the board. Get yourself, if you're a virgin, get that out of the way. It doesn't have to be some magical thing, that can come later. Get that out of the way, find someone you're attracted to, have the sexual experience, start getting that physicality. Um, a lot of guys, I think, who come into the game space via online, they are quite cerebral guys. They can be up in their head anyway, and it's very important just to realize this is a physical, animalistic thing that we're doing with these girls. You need to get them up close and personal with you. You need to feel that woman alongside you, kissing her and all this type of thing. Even if you don't necessarily take it the whole way, you need to start getting physical. That's really important. I think that's one of those things guys don't realize, like they don't realize how important that physicality is. Getting fluid with that. It doesn't take long because it's instinct, it's natural, but you just have to cross that boundary, and the quicker you can do that, I think, the better, basically. So get some points on the board. I was going to come to this later, but I'll come to it now. I think for young guys, it's actually a good option to get a girlfriend. I think it's a good option to get a girlfriend because You you have more purchase. You know, it's quite an advanced thing really to be going out. You want to be going out and getting different girls every week. That's kind of time consuming. I mean, you can do it, but I do think getting a bit of a girlfriend for a while is a good thing to do, or getting a casual girlfriend. That builds your experience, it builds your emotional maturity. It gets you time actually being with someone. It gets you accustomed to these little nuances of relating to a woman, her being in your space for a day or two, and that type of thing. Obviously, keep control of your life and your ambitions. Don't do anything crazy, um, at least initially. But I think having a girlfriend is a good option for a young guy. Um, we're all different. We all have different personality types. Some people get that first girlfriend and probably want to wife her up. Others, it'll just be they'll know that it's not going to end. It's know that it's going to end at some point. But I do think it's a good angle. I don't really understand. I see a lot of, from what I can gather, there's a lot of young guys. They're just trying to get laid, and they got, or guys in general in the online game space, they're trying to get laid, and I'm like, you're not getting laid. Like, you're not anywhere near even having a few dates, and then people have got into their mentality. They want to be some kind of a player. I would focus on getting some type of a semi, friends with benefits situation. Focus on that first. Focus on that first. That's much easier to generate than to be going out getting, girls left, right, and centre, which it is kind of a more advanced thing, man. That's actual proper seduction. Unless you're like a supermodel, like my mate Senator Winner working in a bar, where the girls in those scenarios probably will throw themselves at some guys. Unless you're like that, you want to actually be getting your experiences up and building yourself up, and it's much easier to do that with a kind of friends with benefits situation. You've actually got leverage in the situation. Once you've got some investment with the girl, she's comfortable with you, she's spent time with you. If you've had some decent sex with her as well, which we'll come on to later on, you're more leveraged in that situation. You've got a bit more, it's kind of like you're going to be expecting to see this girl. She's going to be showing up. It'd be weird if she didn't. It's a balance, because obviously you don't want to necessarily use the girl or anything like that. Like, as long as you don't push it too far. Where guys fuck themselves is where they spend 4 nights a week with a girl, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want to keep it casual. You're like, bruv, you're spending 4 nights a week with this girl. It's not casual, yeah? Whereas if you see her probably once a week, that's pretty casual. Or once every 2 weeks, that's definitely casual. Once a week is like, that's, even that is borderline. That's borderline, what are we kind of territory. But you can do that for a few months, and I don't think, like, you're fine. They're not going to be emotionally destroyed or anything. Pretend to be a beta to get a girlfriend. Yeah, it's interesting this. So I was going to say, the experience of having a girlfriend in your 20s is probably invaluable later in life. Make you less naive in relationships later on. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good experience. It's good experience. Pretend to be a beta to get a girlfriend. No, I think you can definitely be an alpha and have a girlfriend as well. It's just it's just getting the experience in there. You don't want to be like, I don't know, going around. I don't know. Some of the things people do just to keep a girl around is fucking crazy. It's crazy. Maybe it's part of it though. Young guys have to do some stupid things. Girls will, by the way, they'll try and put you in these weird situations. I don't care how much of an alpha you are. Your woman will try and put you in some situation where you have to do some bullshit for her. I've never been with a single woman ever who didn't do that. I've never been with one who was just like, she was chill. She just accepted my vibes. At some point, it comes out of left field. You think, no, that's why you got to watch them. It comes out of left field. They want you to go and buy them some shoes or some dress or something like that. Or want you to do some kind of a favor for them. And it's almost like a female dominance thing. They're honestly quite devious creatures. If you look at a woman unflinchingly, they're quite devious, cunning creatures, much more so than guys. Much more so. Like, incomparably more manipulative than guys. This is not, and this is even the ones that you think aren't, they still are. So like, it's just a question of, it's just a question of degree, basically. I've never found a woman who didn't do this. Um, yeah, it's kind of that's a male delusion that takes a long time to break. Probably I'm only just breaking it like maybe just like with the last girl I've been seeing. I'm like even this girl's like this. So there's no exceptions basically. Your location sucks. Um, yeah, exactly. The D surface, man. Exactly. Um, so yeah, I've already gone on a tangent there, but I think it was a useful one. Yeah, have realistic expectations. What you're dealing with the female creature, yeah, and it's a question of degree. At some point, they usually pull some kind of devious thing on you, and just if you get caught out, that's all right. We can all get caught out. It's you're going for a coffee. Next thing you know, you just bought a girl a dress, and it might only be 20 quid. You're just like, how did she just get me to do that? How? Yeah. That doesn't mean you're like some kind of a beta male. It just, if you've been seeing a girl for like 6 months, you go for a coffee, and it's kind of like maybe she needs that. Maybe she needs that in her mind to make her feel that she's not just a whore, you know. Or it's these weird little things, they'll call you to pick them up or something, and it wasn't really necessary, and it's just kind of like, these weird little things that they do. It's a question of degrees. It's a question of degrees. They can push it too far though sometimes. They push it too far, and then they fucked it, and then they've lost you at that point as well. So they've got to be careful. Do you get the sense like an instinct, intuition when they enter that manipulation mode? Honestly, usually I'm actually looking for it. I'm watching them. I'm watching them. I'm watching them. I'm like, I'm watching you. I know what you're up. I know what your game is. As I've got older, and so normally I can see it coming. Normally, and it's funny. I don't mind it. They're animals. I'm an animal. It is what we do. But the ones where you don't see it coming, it's like those are the ones that get you. You just like, I didn't see this coming, and I'm like, I'm tired or something. I didn't. There's some weird thing. I'm tired. What does she want? This girl I've been seeing for the last 4 months. What's it? You want me to do what? And you're kind of like, wait, and they sort of get you on the back foot. It's human nature. I don't care how much of an alpha male you are. There's at some point that's going to happen to you, and it's kind of like you'll do something out of character. You do something when you go, okay, I know what that was. Well done, you got me that time. Congratulations, yeah. I don't know what it is. I think it's like they need, maybe it's a compliment. They need to think that they're getting something from the guy that they're giving themselves to. Maybe. You personally feel a mental burden when someone wants something from you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel the same. I find I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Um, I've just never found a girl that didn't pull something on me. They always pull something. I just, I'm trying to think. I really am racking my brains to find a girl who didn't pull something on me. There probably is one or two in there. I just can't think of them. Yeah, I just can't. The ones that don't want anything with me, honestly, and I know they probably never would, they'll leave me after like 2-3 weeks. Because it's like, they won't wait around them. They just want a boyfriend base. They want like a verbal commitment of a boyfriend. And if I don't give that, yeah. The way they started handling the dad, that's interesting. Too afraid to face a no. I don't even think it's, yeah, I'm not talking about manipulative communication here. I'm talking about they literally want something from you in terms of time, attention, or sometimes like they want you to go out of your way to do a favor for them. And it's like, it's not really necessary. You know there's something weird going on. You're just not quite sure what it is. Is it like, yeah, it's almost like testing you. Does this guy actually even give a fuck about me? That's what I feel it is. YM, goodbye, I'll be blocking you. You think I'm just going to let you come on my channel and insult me? Get the fuck off my channel. Hide the user, goodbye, YM, get lost. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if she's American, whatever, but they tend to be mentally disturbed, those women, if you can call them women. But yeah, I don't resent them for it. I don't have an issue with it. It's fine. It is what it is. As long as if it's one of these types of girls where it's on a constant basis, that's not acceptable, and you've done something wrong. You've already fucked it. You need to get out. But if it's somebody, if it's like this happens, you have 100 interactions, 99 of them are perfectly fantastic, and realistically you've got the upper hand in like 80 of them. She's kind of eating out of the palm of your hand. Yeah, that one time, fair enough, you know. So yeah, that was a little bit of a side thing, but I think that's also probably useful. We're talking about how sophisticated young women can be. It is what it is, man. This is what they do. Fresher start. How many do you approach in one day? Do you specifically designate a day to cold approach? This is a fantastic question, so I'm going to answer this straight away before I get onto any of these other things. This will link into what I'm about to talk about. How many women do you approach in a day? If I go out to do a proper session in a large city, my aim will be to do 10 approaches, around about the 10, 8 to 11, 12 usually. And how I structure it is my first 3 approaches are what I call throwaways. They're just sacrificial sets. Now, that does not mean that I'm kind of half into the approach. No, I will go fully into that approach, but I don't care what happens. It's just whatever. You just got to fire it off. And actually, very often, the very first approach I do, that might last 20 minutes, and I get the girl's number and we have a great contact. Or equally as often, I go over to a 2-set, like I did on Saturday. Could barely stop them, just about stop them. Straight into the next set, another 3-set, basically an impossible set of girls. They were just going in, they were about to go into a museum or something. Bang, straight away, and then bang, the 3rd set, doing whatever. So those first 3 are sacrificial, and then I'll go up to 10. So one of the issues that guys have got is they are simply, most guys in approach, I mean, really seriously, and I'm about to come on to this, why I see cold approach as like a social and emotional martial art. Most guys truly are not even a white belt. They're kind of like that first introductory day when you first go to the gym. That is where most guys are. And there's no shade on that, because as a discipline, like as a proper discipline where you go out and you actually hit it, it's not developed. There's not like a dojo you can go to where you go, okay, we're going to go out and we've got a structure here. This is my instructor. He's going to take me through these approaches, and I'm going to work towards my yellow belt, which I'm going to get in 3 months. That's what I'm trying to put in place, and that's what some of my friends are trying to put in place as well. And over time, that will be put in place for guys, because I've realized how much development psychologically and emotionally cold approach has given me. But what I've also realized, what's severely lacking, is a structure and a route for guys to go through. So to answer your question just very clearly, a session is around 10 approaches. If you haven't done more than 6 or 7 approaches in one, let's say 90-minute period at any point, you really haven't accessed the flow state yet. There is a flow state you get into when you get to approaches 7, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 11, 12. It's a crazy state of social fluidity, and you're basically free. For the first time, the chains have completely come off. You've forgotten about society. You've forgotten about your responsibilities. You've forgotten that you were supposed to be nervous when you're going up to these girls. You don't give a fuck. And you'll find yourself doing approaches in that state that would be very difficult to pull off on your first approach. I remember on my immersion with Christian, the last approaches of, I think it was day 1, and then on day 2, the last approach of day 1 was on a girl at a really crowded bus stop, which normally I would have found, I did find it intimidating, and he just said, he just goes, go pay a compliment. And because I'd done 9 approaches beforehand, I was like, okay, let's go. And I got into that set and I completely locked into it, like matrix, just ones and zeros around me, and had this amazing interaction with this woman. And for probably about 20 minutes till her bus got there, got her number. I think it was the first number that I got. So it's like I'd probably done 20 approaches to get my first number on that first day. Or maybe I think I've now got a couple numbers on that first day. So I did, yeah. But it takes a little while. It takes a little while. But you went to that flow state. So let's just have a look what people are saying here. Okay, in terms of designating a day, I would recommend that you do that. I personally treat it as a kind of sport, where it's like, okay, this is my training day, my execution day, and this is my recovery day, and maybe these are my dating days. So like I would go out on a Friday, Saturday. I'd try and get out for an hour on a Friday night, and then I'd hit every Saturday, and then I'd usually be with a girl on a Sunday. But I'd hit every Saturday approach, and then maybe do a little bit on a Monday, Tuesday, like 20 minutes if I could, maybe 1 or 2 approaches. And then the rest of the nights, I would either be just dedicating to other things or I'd be going out on the dates. And this is me for the last couple of years. But I've had long periods, for example, when I was in Brazil, I would go out every Saturday and I would get my fucking ass handed to me. Battered every Saturday. Absolutely getting my dick kicked in every Saturday. And that was in the day. What was interesting at night in Brazil, I did a lot better at night in Brazil. This is Salvador de Bahia as well. So it's a bit of a weird... I didn't realize it's a fucking communist city, man, Salvador. It's really not my type of people. So I think I just don't fit with those types of people. But anyway, and then I go to other countries and it's been ups and downs, right? But I've done religiously every Saturday. Yeah, I've not missed too many Saturdays. I would recommend that you do that. Because otherwise what you'll do is, and this is where guys fuck up, is they'll do a massive blast for like 2-3 weeks and then they won't do any for 2 or 3 months. That's not really optimal, in my opinion. By all means, blast for 2 or 3 weeks, but then you cruise. It's like steroids, yeah? You blast for 3 weeks and then you cruise just once a week. And at 1 hour to 90 minutes, I do not go and do a 5-hour mission alone. Get it out of yourself within an hour. Just you can honestly 30 minutes. Aim to hit it as hard as you can in the shortest possible amount of time. That's what will get you the benefits. And although week to week you will have some frustrations because you think, oh fuck, I fucked that one up, I fucked this one up. Over a couple of months, 2-3 months, you'll see substantial improvements. And if you keep going for a matter of years, you will see massive improvements. And so let me just break this down a little bit more before we get to any questions. So cold approach as emotional jiu-jitsu, as basically psychological jiu-jitsu, social jiu-jitsu. And instead of going for submissions, we're going for something else, yeah? This brings a new meaning to the word ground and pound, right? So we're going for submissions, we're going for our own type of submission. And this is the way to think of it. So in terms of, I saw a video earlier on which I thought was great, which was about skill acquisition. This guy basically saying how this guy James Smith, he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's a kind of social media guru for gym trainers. And he said, look, skill acquisition, and this exactly chimes with my experience, which is why I shared this video with friends. Skill acquisition takes a long time. Realistically, for the first couple of years of most things, you're going to be a beginner. And then in that 2 to 4 year period, you go into an intermediate phase. And then from a 4 to 10 year period, that's when you become a master, right? But it's always enjoyable the whole time. You enjoy the process. And I think the great thing about cold approach is there is so little competition that even if you are still a beginner in your first 3 months, you'll get results because there's no competition. And also, it's not like the women want to be approached. The women actually want guys to act like this to them. Okay, so You don't have to do 100% of the work. You might just go and do the open, and everything might be shit, but they might just be like, I love this guy, and they just give you the number anyway, right? So if you find you go over to a girl just likes you because she likes you, that will also happen, and that's part of the game. So this is not like, there is obviously a limit to how much. It's not an analogy like jiu-jitsu where any mistake is brutally punished. I mean, sometimes it is, to be fair, but sometimes the girl will just kind of like, they're not expecting perfection. You're able to sit in that awkwardness, and it's just fine. It's absolutely fine. So I would say now I'm towards the end of my. So in terms of approach, I'm definitely experienced. I'm definitely experienced, and I've also got a methodology as well. I actually work according to a methodology. Okay, it's not like one of these autistic ones where it's all super detailed. It's just very, very basic, but I do work according to that. And in terms of my own approach, before I came into the daytime, which I came into about 36-ish, I got trained at 37. I'd done so much at nighttime anyway that I was experienced. Now I'd had horrific nighttime sessions, and I'd had solo sessions. I had it all where as a promoter, did all these different types of sessions. Other sessions where I'm flying. I feel like I'm just pull this girl in. It's all just like amazing, right? King of the world. It's ups and downs with the nighttime, but I knew because I'd done that, my expectations for the daytime were, it's going to be different. But I already knew, like, I've got some advantage coming in. Definitely, I've got some advantages. But at the same time, I know this is going to be a process, because I didn't just go out into the club the first day and like be able to dominate the club. Not at all. I had no fucking clue what was going on. So yeah, and I think it's important to have like realistic expectations when you're getting into approach. What's it going to take to get results? Not actually that much. So that's a good part. It won't take you that much to get results. What's it going to take to get to a point where you feel you've mastered it to such an extent that you basically know on any given month, you could, if I'm being realistic, I know that I could go out tomorrow and get a date tomorrow in the daytime. I could probably go out tomorrow and get an instant date. I'm almost certain. Just because of how experienced I am now, and I'm in the north of the UK. It's not that easy. It's not that hard. It's pretty doable. Like, it's pretty easy, to be honest. It's not that difficult. So I kind of know, right? If I was in like fucking, if I was in a really difficult place, then I might not have that same feeling. But I didn't have that feeling 2 years ago, or even really, it was starting to come in about a year ago. But now I've just done so much. I feel more seasoned. That would be a likely outcome. But you never know. Like, in my soul, I kind of feel that's what would happen. And I can also pick off the girls as well that I know are going to like me quite easily. So yeah, that's I would describe that as a level of kind of a certain level of mastery, like a level of competence where I'm becoming an intermediate in my own mind. The fact that to someone else I might look absolutely unbelievable because they're not even a beginner, right? But in my own mind, realistically, I'm an intermediate. Okay, there's probably only a few hundred guys anywhere who are intermediates, and then actual masters, I don't know. Are there any masters? I don't know. Maybe there's a few. Maybe there's like 5 of them around. I probably know a few of them. So that's how I honestly view this thing. But the fact is, you can get results as a beginner simply because most guys will never have the balls to even do a single approach. So you'll get results based on that. I had a beginner last Friday. I don't know if he's on the live, but he was fucking superb. On his first day out, he closed 2 like Instagram models on his first day out, and he'd never done time approach before. There was some factors that played to his favor because he was very well dressed. I thought he looked great. I think that definitely helped him. He was dressed perfect for daytime approach. Basically, there's a certain dress code which is kind of very good for daytime, in my opinion. You want to be like cooler and a bit smarter than your average just geezer just walking through town, like some style to you, but you don't want to have overshot where you're like in like a blazer and like chinos or something like that. That's too far, especially in the north of England. That's you've overshot there. There's a kind of good kind of urban style that you can go in with, and this guy had that down to an absolute art form, and so I think that helped him, and he did well. But so he was a beginner. He got results on day one and day two, so you can get results. That doesn't mean that he's an intermediate or a master. Far from it. He's got to put in the reps. Um, so yeah, so that's my take on the timeline with this. So for guys, and I also think for guys I actually think most guys won't make it to intermediate. Even guys who are quite committed. I know what I've done to get to intermediate. Most guys are no way going to do that. Absolutely no way. I know Christian Casanova. He did something fairly similar, maybe even more intensive than me. And he got obviously to intermediate. I think he's getting up there towards mastery now. Ephraim at Paul University, he had a full month of a coaching approach where he approached every day for a calendar month, like 10 approaches a day, when he was a beginner. So he got to upper beginner like pretty swiftly, but then he's had to hammer the streets. So check out his channel, Paul University. He's hammered the streets for like a year over in America, and now he's probably intermediate type of level. I was approaching out with him in Barcelona. I saw him in the flesh. He's very, very good. He's only young as well, so I think he's going to get actually a lot better. But for his age, he's fucking phenomenal, and he gets results as well. And so you can get results as a beginner, but you feel that confidence more and more coming in. That consistency starts to come in as you get more seasoned and more experienced. And yeah, most people simply won't put themselves through what we put ourselves through. They just won't. And that's actually, it's probably abnormal what we've actually pushed ourselves to do. You know, I think it probably is, but it's just that desire. I want to, this is something I want to do. I think it's worthwhile. And obviously now I'm sharing it with other guys as well. And guys are getting good results with it. But yeah, respect the process, respect the game. Anything that is worth doing usually is going to be a time investment. That doesn't mean you can't get results on like day one or day two. But if we're talking about consistency over many years, where you get to a point where you go, after 3 years, you know what, I could actually teach somebody else, or 2 years. You know, to get to that point, that is going to take work, in my opinion. I don't think someone should do like get 3 numbers and then be like, right, I'm going to teach cold approach. Get a couple hundred numbers in the bank, or at least 100 in the bank. You know, get some lays from it. Then we probably talk about sharing your experiences, in my opinion. But before that, just keep gaining the experience. And in terms of for your own personal use, I think a lot of guys, it's kind of like, I'd say give yourself a year of approach, date, get laid, date, but just say to the girl, look, I'm doing some self-development stuff this year. I'm not in a position to date yet. I think 12 months of approach is good enough where you could say in any future point in your life, let's say this girl, we broke up after 3 months, 3 years. I know I could go back out and I could get back on the game and I could get back out there, and within a month or two I'd be dating again. If you give yourself 12 months, you'll give yourself that luxury. If you only give yourself like 2 weeks and you get a girlfriend on the second week, which a lot of guys do, I think then you are at that risk of going, when you come back out of that relationship, which you probably will, you go back to stage one, you go back to phase one. So there's a guy in the entourage, Sean, he'd done a lot of social stuff before. He was 50, and he was in the entourage for about close to a year, about 9 months, and he hammered it for like the first 2-3 months, and then he had other things going on, but he was periodically coming back, and then he did eventually meet a girl through, it was actually night, kind of semi-evening, nighttime cold approach, and now he's gone off with her and he's got a relationship with her. That's actually, I think that's also a reasonable time frame, like 9 months. Yeah. But I do think there's like some guys, it's almost like, yeah, maybe you're not even cut out for approach anyway, and maybe honestly the first girl you get, just get the fuck out of there. I honestly, because some guys, they can't take the streets, they can't take the heat, man. They can't take it. They can't take. They just have very, uh, well, frankly, in my view, very uh, immature and not well constituted personalities for approach. They get too affected by things. They spin things in their head if things don't seemingly don't go perfectly for them. Guys like that, I would honestly say maybe do the approach as an exercise, as a social freedom thing. But I'd honestly say just get your girlfriend and get the fuck out of there. Honestly, and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. You'll have talents in other areas of life. You might not be a masochist who wants to batter themselves through cold approach like some of us. Um, so Alexander, can you estimate a realistic rejection rate percentage wise? Yeah, let me get to this. Um, It's actually a good question. It's in a way, it's not a question that I really like to answer. And most of the guys, Ephraim's had this same discussion where the guys ask him about percentages. That's actually the wrong question to ask. It's actually the wrong question to ask. Just let me break down why. Because you might go out for the first couple of days when, let's say you're going out with no training and you just don't actually know what you're doing and you're not feeling it yet. You might go out for like 3 weeks and you might get 100% rejection rate, right? But let's say, you go and work with someone like me or Christian or Ephraim, and they actually start to pinpoint, oh, dude, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. Let's get you sorted out. Or you join a group like my group, like the Entourage, and you actually get the correct training. You might then find, and then you start to go out, and then let's say you're out with a group of wings. You might go out, you might get 50% of the numbers on a day. You might go in for 10, you might get 5, you might very conceivably get 4. So the scenario in which you're approaching is very important. How good are you? How good is your approach? How committed to the approach are you? So you could be a beginner, and you could, because I've seen guys, and this is why I do believe getting training is important. So that the person I trained with, Christian, he'd been a performing magician for a decade from his childhood. So he's basically a prodigy in terms of daytime approach, because he was used to stopping large groups of people in the street and performing magic tricks for them. So he came into the cold approach space, and to him it was kind of natural transition. For me, I came in from the whole nighttime space, and daytime was always like social taboo, like who the fuck does that, weird. But I got trained by him, and I was able to kind of apply some of the learnings I've got from the night and apply that into the daytime. And then I met other guys like Ephraim, guys like Balthus, but particularly Ephraim, Poole University, and we kind of share notes. And the guys in my group who were more advanced than me at that point, and we'd all share notes. And this area of approach, it's almost like we are building out the knowledge for this. So if I'd just gone out there on my own, which I did initially for like about a year, when I started in the Caribbean and then I came back to Europe, I was doing bits and pieces. I could have gone out for 5 years, and actually I was doing quite well. But I was just doing one approach on a session. My session was one approach. I'd do one approach a day, and it was going quite well. But it was still like I didn't really understand what approach was at that point, So it really depends how good your approach is and what the scenario is. That's what I would say. So yeah, I think let's say a good day where you've got some training, you actually feel you know what you're doing, and you've emotionally begun to come to terms with it, that you know how to run a session. You do your first 3 throwaways, then you go and do 10 sessions. You're out with some good wings, you're out in a good city, the girls are good, it's good vibes, everything's good. You could get definitely, I would say, let's say 4 out of 10. Sometimes, like if it's very amenable, you might surpass that 5 out of 10. But you got to be real. It's got to be realistic, man. You got to be realistic because if a girl's legitimately got a boyfriend, I don't take that as a rejection. You know what I mean? It's not a rejection. So guys are really worried about the wrong thing. They're worried about being in a way, and it's normal because everything we think in terms of success rates, that's actually not how you want to think about it. You want to think about it as like, I'm just going out to do what I've got to do. And some girls will probably be interested in me today. Some definitely won't. That's a given. Like, as guys, we've got to get over that. We've got to get over that. So yeah, I really don't see it as rejection. Like, if a girl doesn't stop, that's not rejection. If she has a boyfriend, it's not rejection. If she doesn't like me, who cares? I just honestly don't see it as rejection. Um, I just see it as this is. I'm just out basically. I'm just going through the streets, stopping, and I'm waiting for those moments where I'm like, "You're my girl, you're my girl right here." And sometimes that's the first one. Sometimes I can almost see it. That's the first one, and other times it might be the 10th one. I think in my Barca videos, the first girl I approached on video had a fairly good interaction with her, and as soon as I saw her pass me, I was like, that's my girl. I can already tell. And sure enough, that interaction went well. For the next video I did in the rain, I'm going through thinking this is gonna be it's gonna be a tough one, and I didn't find anybody to even have a conversation with until like the 10th or 11th approach. Now that's quite an extreme example because it was in the rain, but that would be an illustration of it. You can go out, you can do everything right, you can get your ass handed to you at any point in time. It's happened to Christian, who's been coaching for like 4 or 5 years. That can happen to him, or he can go out and he can get 5 numbers in a row. It's one of those things, man. But the more you do, the more, as a beginner, all these questions you've got, you just want to just throw them out the window and just go, right, I'm going out to to build my experience and just know that some girls are going to like you. That's just a guarantee, basically. So I'm going to be, this is so true, a surge in energy after the first 3 approaches in 10 to 15 minutes. Exactly. So you're starting to introduce yourself to this process now. You're starting to get acquainted with it. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And what you find over time as well is, one of my mates calls it balls maxing. Richie, I don't know if he's on the call, but on the video, he calls it balls maxing, and it's like, it's a balls maxing thing, man. You're going over to these chicks apropos of nothing in the daytime. It's ballsy. Do you know what I mean? It's ballsy. For me, I think where you get to mastery level is where you can start doing this really crazy shit where you're going into, like, you're walking into a cafe and you're opening a group of, well, fucking hell, I did that in Barca actually when I think about it. Yeah. Or when if I get to a point where I can do that every single time, like day in, day out, just walking into big groups of girls in cafes and opening them, that's where you're starting to get into some mastery type of shit. It's cold approach and escape from the matrix. I recently found that airports are prime ground for cold approach. Yeah, 10 cold approaches sound exhilarating. Fresh start. I love this. I love the positivity in here. This is fucking awesome. This is exactly the type of people I want to be speaking to. Yeah, an escape from the matrix. I would agree. I'm going to come on to that in a moment as well. Let me just finish these questions. Thank you for answering the question. 3 throwaways, excellent. My friend loves a bar. I prefer daytime. I'm a convert to daytime. I still like night, and I still think there's maybe an angle for sexuality that's a lot faster at night. I think there is. But I actually think you have to do mostly one or the other, because I was out with a student on Friday, we did a big daytime session, and we went out that night afterwards. It was almost to celebrate, but I was like, man, I'm so knackered. There was a few opens I could have done, but I'm like, I'm just legitimately knackered. We've walked around a lot. Like I've been looking at his approaches, and then afterwards I did a few approaches as well. It's like, it's knackering. And the same on the Saturday as well. I did like 10 approaches in the day. Saturday night, I'm like, I just want to go home. I actually, maybe if you're quite young, you're like early 20s, yeah, go do a daytime session and go out at night, awesome. fucking hell, at nearly 40, I'm just like, I'll do one or the other. I can't be bothered with both. Good-looking guy with low self-esteem will get less results in cold approach than a guy symptomless has far higher view of himself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is where these looks maxing kids are not understanding life, man. They're not. That's for a whole live on its own. Um, it's taxing energy-wise. Yeah, you go alone. You prefer to have a brotherhood, but hey, yeah, it's much better if you've got mates with you. But the problem is finding the right guys. Do you think that in countries like Serbia and cold approaching is very out of the social norm? You know what I will say, Alexander, with Serbia is, I think in Belgrade, I think you'll be surprised. Now, I'd say as a foreign guy that I get that little bit of a foreign guy pass, but Serbian culture has still got a primal nature underneath the surface, and it's quite close to the surface. Um, the Slavic countries are much more like less banter on the surface than like Western Europe. But there's a bit more of that animal, especially in Serbia, that kind of animalistic human nature that I can sense more in the women. Um, you can sense it everywhere, but I felt it in Serbia. So I would say you might be surprised how effective daytime approach could be in somewhere like Belgrade. You might be surprised. I mean, there was some Russian guys there who were objectively terrible. I don't miss to throw shade on guys, but they were not good. They were, especially, I mean, their looks were just terrible. Like this guy had like he had a braided beard, like really long braids in his beard. Like, dude, it was terrible. It looked very bizarre. And he was out stopping girls. He was stopping them. I watched him. He was stopping them. I was out solo, a newcomer to the place, and I was doing pretty decent, to be honest. It took me some adjustment. I think Western Europe is a bit more, I would almost say, I find it just a bit more enjoyable. It's a slightly lighter atmosphere with approach, but I think you might surprise yourself. Yeah, if you actually dedicated yourself to it out in Serbia, I'm pretty confident you would get some results. Um, and you might have to at some point mention it, like call out the elephant in the room in the conversation. Oh yeah, I know everyone is like, you know, I know everyone is a bit reserved here, but I just decided to be different. Whatever the case is. Um, the Serbian girls that I approached in Belgrade, none of them found it weird that I was approaching. They didn't, because that's the fear. That's the fear of guys in Britain as well. Um, like southern Britain is not. I would say it's probably harder than Serbia, to be honest, in a sense, because the girls are more stuck up. Um, so yeah, I think you can pull it off that over there. Does Christian Casanova have a YouTube? Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got a massive YouTube, dude. He's got a massive YouTube. Check him out. He's excellent. Do you ever experience location depression, becoming hopeless in overused locations? So this is a myth. There is no overused location for daytime approach. I've approached in a lot of places. I've never seen anywhere oversaturated, and I think guys are. I'll be honest, man. I get disgusted with guys. Not you here, but I get disgusted with guys who are just so cowardly they can't take a little bit of competition. It's like, bruv, what do you expect? You could go to a club. There'll be other guys in. What do you think? What do you think the girls are seeing on an app on Tinder? That's oversaturated, yeah, because every guy's on there because it's low barrier to entry. I've never been somewhere in the streets where there was anything more than. I've never seen on one session more than two other guys doing a session that I didn't know. I've seen maybe a session where there was five other guys doing a session. Three of them were my wings. You know, how is that oversaturation? You know. And I go out like, yeah, Manchester, all over all over Eastern Europe, Dominican, Brazil. Bro, competition, Dominican Republic, they all fucking do cold approach. They don't even do sessions. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, overused. Maybe that's maybe I've misinterpreted what you said. But if you're afraid of other guys approaching around you, I think that's very unrealistic. Um, Guys they get put off because there's three other guys out approaching women. Give me a break. To me, that just says they're spoiled little fucking children, in my opinion. Go to a club. You think the hot girl you want has not been approached by someone else that night? Give me a fucking break. Grow up, guys. Sorry. Um, but if you're talking about overusing a location yourself where you get bored of it, yeah, I get bored of locations. Sure. I had that in Sarajevo after I did 8 weeks in Sarajevo. Fuck me, dude. I put in some fucking. I think that's where in my own mind, that's where I became, should we say, I got my bones fully. It's like, yeah, you could do it in a few nice places. Yeah, Brazil was really difficult. Yeah. What about fucking Sarajevo? Yeah. I actually managed to do it as well. So, um, do you think guys are above intermediate with women are just complete naturals from being young? I don't think about this too much. I would say myself, I had very limited access to women until I was about 15. I don't know if that counts as being young. First girl I got with, I cold approached her in a club. I don't know. Me and my mates just cold approached every fucking chick in the club, basically. That was how it was. I don't know if that was natural. Did we learn it? I'm assuming we learned it. No, I think it's mostly learned. The naturals are few and far between. The true naturals are few and far between. And usually it's honestly usually based on looks. Because they get positive feedback from girls quite early. It's usually to some extent based on looks. It's like, let's say me and my mates go over to some girls. Early on, they get that feedback that this girl XYZ fancies them, whereas the other guys don't necessarily get that. So that can be where natural comes from. I think all the other guys, it's just kind of like, how much do you want it, boys? And actually, the guys that do well over the longest period of time, they're rarely the best looking guys. Very rarely. I mean, there are guys who are, but usually what happens with good looking guys, they get snapped up by a girl quite young, and then that's just them done, and fair enough. These Yeah, that's normally what happens. Yeah, one of my friends in the entourage, Sinister Winner, check out his channel. He's basically like an actor slash model who's also sick at cold approach. It's just actually hilarious to watch. I'll be interested to see. I've never spoken to him about rejection, but anyone is going to get rejection. But someone like him he's got the whole lot in terms of the front end. It's you're going to get a lot of positive feedback. So yeah, it's probably hard to judge how you're doing actually, because you're going to get a lot of positive feedback. But yeah, good-looking guys, by the way, they don't have it easy either. Good-looking guys like Brad Pitt, for example, he said when he was first in Hollywood, he literally couldn't get dates because he was a pussy. He said that himself. So they don't have it any easier. You've still got to learn to approach. You've still got to do the right stuff. And actually, in a relationship, you've got to be even stronger if you're good looking, because you'll be held to a higher standard. If you're a pussy and you're a good looking guy, the girls will really resent you for it. So, yeah, I don't want to let those guys off the hook either. Dating advice is a cope. Nothing can change. They'll like you for you or they don't. Women suck. Jack, you actually, I mean, apart from being like very negative, okay, Jack. Why on my channel, bruv? Honestly, how old are you, Jack? How old are you, bruv? Why are you on this channel trying to spread your misery, bruv? Women suck. The hub is free. This is the problem with YouTube, right? Because I know Alexander, for example, he's on the channel. I've actually seen him we've had a call together before. So I know he's a solid guy. I might have some guy who's just a complete freak who's watching me, interacting with me. I'm like, in real life, we will just never interact. So good-looking guys don't have it easier. Okay. And what are you basing your experiences on, Jack? Where is your wisdom coming from? Do you have much experience with women? Obviously not, in my opinion. I don't have time to waste on this guy. Jack, get the fuck off my channel, mate. I'm gonna block you. Get the fuck out of here. Yep. We'll get rid of him. Yeah, so I'm not into negative idiots on the channel. You might want to contribute, that's absolutely fine, or share experiences, that's fine. Yeah, by all means share perspectives, but I don't want to hear people, women suck. It's just stupid. So yeah, we've gone on a lot of tangents, but there's some great, amazing questions tonight. This is absolutely amazing. So yeah, I've talked about the time period it's going to take. This is why, for example, if you invest in some approach and you invest in your relationships at a young age, start getting some points on the board, that pays off a lot in your 30s. It really does. Like I've had much, like when I was like in my early 20s, girls didn't fucking like I couldn't really get girls in a way. I still would fumble my way into things through pure effort of trying to do something, but I had no clue at all. There was no good teachers. There's obviously like no one, the guys, we never really, no one was sharing notes with each other. There was no communities or anything. It was just kind of like, what the fuck do I do? And then eventually you start to get some like lucky breaks and good breaks. And I found when I traveled to some countries as well, and not necessarily countries where the girls were easier, but just countries where I vibed with the girls more, that also made things better as well. And so slowly over time, those experiences accrued, and even like I thought I was going to be maybe engaged at 28, that didn't end up happening. And then into my 30s, it's all just accrued to a point like, wow, I've had so much. I've gone from having below average experience or average experience to now like way above average, and it's just time. It's just time. So yeah, this is why I want to share this with other people, not just hoard it all to myself, hoard the experiences, actually share it with other people so they can benefit from it as well. But any experiences you get in your 20s, they do pay off like double, triple in your 30s. And I think experiences I'm getting with all the cold approach and helping other guys as well, that is going to continue to help me into my 40s and 50s and 60s, whether that's as a father myself one day or whether that's just being the greatest uncle of all time. It's all good experience. I think guys who say, like, let me just index on my money and all that type of thing and just fuck off women until I'm like 35, that's just a bad, very, very bad idea. Because you're going to be coming in and you're going to be getting your licks at 35 when they're going to be a lot harder to take if you're like a virgin at 35. You've not got much experience, it's a lot harder. And there are other aspects to dating as well, it's not just approach as well. My next set of notes here is approach is like 10-15% of it. It's a fascinating 10-15%. It's daytime approach probably the hardest. It's harder to go and do a daytime approach session than it is to go on a date. There's been a few times I've gone over to Manchester and I could have had a date, but I've gone and done an approach session instead because I'm wanting to teach and keep myself sharp. But yeah, going on dates is easier, but there is still kind of requirements. For example, I mean, I won't go into the details, but even setting up the dates, like Ephraim Poole University, he's great at approach. He was setting up dates, and he had a date booked, and the date basically didn't show up or something. And I've had this exact thing happen to me in the past, probably once or twice. I said, no, you want to confirm probably the night before and on the day, and then like an hour before as well. You have to send these confirmation texts like you're doing email marketing. You got to do it. If you don't do it, if you plan the date like 4 days in advance, you probably ain't gonna show up. So just something simple like that I learned along the way. I learned it definitely when there was like one girl just didn't show up to a date, and it's like a second date as well. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, because we planned it like 6 days before, she didn't show up. I'm like, was it that difficult? We planned it on Sunday. It's now like Thursday or Friday. Is it that difficult? But apparently for them it is. So you've got to confirm. And so since then, I never leave it down to chance. Never leave it down to chance. Don't leave it on them. Their brains just, whatever. Yeah, and then actually get an experience, on the date itself, enjoying the date, relaxing on the date. That's actually the best part. That's the most enjoyable part for me, is the date by far, or obviously the date in the bedroom and stuff. I much more enjoy that end of things, much more. I find all that pretty enjoyable, relaxing, easy. You're there with the girl. Um, but yeah, it takes a bit of time. There's things that they do sometimes. You just weird behaviors, especially in Europe. Some of the behaviors of some of these girls are just like, I'm just like, what? You can I can distinguish between what is genuinely bad behavior and what is just kind of being an idiot. There are a lot more idiots, because of social media and stuff now. Like there really are. But you can kind of handle it, just laugh. You can kind of laugh at these girls. Like I've had girls. I remember there was one girl who I went out with who she had guys calling her and stuff on the date. She had all these Instagram followers. She had so much male attention. And I just laughed the whole time. I spent most of the date just amusing myself with her, just treating her like just a childish idiot, basically, but not in a vicious way, just in a funny way. And then I can't remember if I pulled her that night or we got a little bit. I think she went to get some food or something on the way home, and then she started getting all sexual with me in the it was like in the chicken shop or something. It was pretty funny. And then I just kind of left it, and I was kind of like, yeah, she was cool, but I don't know if I'm gonna bother see her again. And that girl was like messaging me for like a solid like 5 6 weeks. Yeah, because it's like, despite all the electronic attention, and despite all the guys calling her, when they're actually in the presence of a guy who is solid, who is grounded, who understands their stupid little things and doesn't take them seriously, that's like catnip for them. That's like a drug for them. Yeah, and they just can't help. And obviously, I got somewhat physical with her as well. They just kind of can't help but come back for that. It's not. Everyone's afraid of like, oh, this girl's got too many options. The guy, some of these guys had money as well, like a lot of money. Didn't matter. It didn't matter. So yeah, getting that experience with dating. But I think that I'm referencing one date in particular, but that's just I could act like that because I've been around dates before, been around girls before. It doesn't phase me now like it used to. All these weird behaviors at one point or another, it would have phased me. Now it doesn't, or much less anyway. So yeah, so knowing how to run the dates, knowing how, there is a bit of an art to that as well. I won't go into it here. Obviously, closing the girl, bringing her back to yours. I've got a certain way that I actually like to close girls as well, which is essentially lethal. Yeah, you're not going to fail with this method. It's pretty much 100% close, I would say, essentially. Unless the only girls I've not closed is if the girl genuinely was probably not interested in me, you know. But yeah, anyone interested. Yeah, because I've had phases where I struggled to close the girl. I couldn't quite. I felt awkward. I couldn't quite close the girl. I've had phases like that. I wanted something easy. I wanted the green light. I was afraid to get the red light. I didn't know what the fuck to do. Again, being a European guy, being a British guy, there's no culture behind us telling us how to seduce. Or it's really, maybe that's why there's a lot of guys who get damn determined to learn it, because it's like there's nothing here for us. Yeah, Italian guys, they've got that seduction culture behind them. Dominican guys have, Brazilian guys have. We don't have any of that shit, so we have to fucking learn it. And I actually do think that's why there's been some good content producers, guys who've actually developed knowledge from the UK. I think it's because we've had to fucking learn it from scratch. But anyway, so that's closing, and then the sexual sescapades as well. I should do a live at some point on sex itself. What are the aspects of sex that you wanna? How shall I put this? It's like sex really is like the ultimate in the modern world. It's the ultimate experience of freedom. Like literally, you're taking your clothes off and you're just acting like an animalistic beast in the bedroom with a girl. A bit like Cold Approach is breaking away from the Matrix. Sex is kind of taking you back into that natural jungle man that you always were supposed to be. Yeah, it's actually like, I think it's more important now in a way than it was. Because of that, it's kind of like it's that experience of freedom that you have in a very constrained life. Cold approach breaks you out of the fucking matrix. So does sex. So does the bedroom, and it breaks them out as well, man. They want to feel that wildness as well. Um, should probably do a full live on sexuality. But yeah, and I think as well for younger guys as well, because this is live focused on that on the age group a little bit. Getting your sexual experiences in some sexual experiences in young, I think, is also good as well. Um, I found my worst sexual period was 21 to 26. That was my worst sexual, most barren period. 5 years. Just getting my ass kicked. I had some issues in my, like, 25 to 26. I was kind of taken out for some health, quite severe health problems, so that kind of doesn't really count. But let's say 21 to 24. I was just literally working. I was a complete workaholic because I wanted to try to make something and trying to figure out the girls. But that was just the worst time period, basically. And then it started to swing back round again from about 27 through to 32. That was a period of like ravaging, basically, 27 to 32. What I actually did find was, for me personally, some of that hardcore desire that I had from like 27 to 32, I don't quite have that same desire now. I think it's because I've moved on to other things. I still have that desire, but there's like other things that I'm more interested in. So I think like waiting till you're like, waiting too long is not good. I think young guys, you want to enjoy these periods of your life. I'm not going to go on a tear like I did at like 28 or 32, these tears that I would go on. Maybe I will this summer, to be fair, for old time's sake, but I'm not going to spend years on end on a tear or with like multiple girlfriends and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to do that so much now. Maybe I will, I don't know. But like, I don't have that ferocious desire that I used to have. And that is hormonal, I think. It's like your hormones at 30, you're just totally out of control. Like, people say it's like 18. For me, it was like 30. 30 was fucking worse, dude. Jesus. Yeah. So get these experiences in young. Get these experiences in young. I'll put here sexual domination. I should do a video on that on its own. A lot of psychology involved as well. Where are guys learning about sex properly? Actually, where are guys learning about sex? That's a good fucking question. Yeah, porn. That's the worst possible place to learn about it. It's just fucking stupid. So we're not learning about anything there. Sexual domination. Yeah, I mean it's an important topic. Can't really go into it all now, but sex in of itself is a kind of freedom, cold approach. It's a rebellion against society. It's a refusal to just be domesticated. And I find I'm attracted to all of these things that allow me to be a bit more in touch with my barbarian nature. So whether that's cold approach, whether that's dance, whether that's shooting, whether that's sex, and just like lifting animalistic weights, boxing, all these things. It's kind of like the civilized barbarian, the sophisticated barbarian. That's kind of what I aspire to. Like, read some high intellect things, learn a language, and then go to the shooting range and just ravage this girl. That's the kind of life that I want to affiliate to. That's the kind of life I'm interested in, really. I think a lot of guys feel something similar as well. So yeah, anything that you can connect into like that, I think is a positive. And cold approach is just a massive, massive development arc. Oh yeah, the last thing I'll say on sexuality is dirty talk. Just because I want this to be a valuable live. The actual value of dirty talk, so few guys can do it. Record yourself reading some erotic stories with a girl that you're getting with You know, start talking dirty to her. She'll get off. She'll have an orgasm just from your dirty talk. Maybe even without touching herself as well. It's fucking insane. Um, Start telling her all the filthy shit you want to do to her, and don't pull any punches. Push yourself like you do in approach. Push yourself to say the most filthy stuff. Dirty talk is absolutely awesome. It's women are so stimulated by the mind. You know, all of these erotic novels is the highest selling genre in fiction. It's all just porn for women. Yeah, it's all just porn for women. They fucking love that stuff. So they're very stimulated mentally. Like they're very mental beings when it comes to sex. Obviously they're physical as well, but they're very, very mental. So use that, leverage it. You be the guy who knows. Be the guy who actually knows how to pull this stuff off. All right, so get yourself a copy of 50 Shades, a few of these dirty female books. You know, just have a skim through. Start writing down your own little novels in your head. You know, then you can share them with the lovely ladies that you date. Um, yeah, so that's sexuality, and something else I said I was going to talk about with the guys is sexual boomerangs. Sexual boomerangs. This is a great topic. Sexual boomerangs. This is girls that like you have your experience with, and they go away for a while. They go away, and they boomerang back round again. They land back where they started, which is on you. Sexual boomerangs. This is something that is a very interesting phenomena. It's a very interesting phenomena. You can think you've lost a girl. You can actually have a great interaction with a girl. You have maybe some good sex with her. Maybe it happens a few times, but she disappears off. And perhaps she disappears off because, basically because you're not going to commit to her, or she doesn't think the relationship is going to progress, or she's got another guy, or there's a guy she likes and she thinks is going to be the boyfriend, or whatever the case is. Like, what I found consistently is these girls you think are indifferent to you, very often they boomerang back round. And sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes the boomerang is like 2 years. That's happened to me before. It's happened to me a lot. Multi-year boomerangs with a girl I'll be with sometimes even once or maybe 2, 3 times. And they boomerang back like a couple of years later or 18 months later or 6 months later or 3 months later. But the shocking ones are when it's like 2, 3, couple of years later. I've had, in the last 2 weeks, I've had one boomerang from about 2.5 years ago. I had a boomerang literally tonight from about 18 months ago. I would say it would be about January time, December time, 2024. No. December 2023 / January 2024. So 18-month boomerang. Coming back today. Decent as well. Dominican maths teacher. Boomeranged off. I had one date with her. Night of passion with this woman. It was fucking crazy. Had a insane. God, had an insane. Some women, yeah, have got a body. Some of these like conservative types of women, they're dressed quite conservative, and so you don't really see too much. You think, oh, she's kind of slim. She's just ordinary looking, but she had a vibe to her. She's cool. Let's go and say what's going on. 25 years old. I'm not going to say no. And then you open the merchandise, right? You take off the packaging and see the merchandise and go, oh my God, what am I witnessing? What kind of glory am I witnessing? That is such an amazing thing. That's such an amazing thing. Yeah, when you get with a girl and their body is like staggeringly hotter in when they get naked than they were with clothes on. And then you also have the inverse as well. And then you just have where it's kind of similar. But yeah, one of those types of girls, she boomerang back today. This weird boomerang just came back out of nowhere. Yeah, if you're single, you stay single. No, have a family and stuff. You get these boomerangs coming back round, man. You get these boomerangs coming back round. I tend to find though you have to have had a sexual escapade with them. If you've not had a good, solid sexual escapade with them, they don't boomerang back. If you just had a date with them, they ain't gonna boomerang. But if you've actually been through them, um, they often will boomerang back again in time, and you just kind of let it happen essentially. Um, there is still part of me that wants to have a harem of like 10, 20, 30 women. There's no doubt in my mind, like in my ideal world, that level of sexual variety would be fucking incredible. And then you have like a little girlfriend experience with each one, and then you rotate them around. Like, I know still in my mind, deep down, was a big part of my mind that wants that. Um, but it's not really manageable with a professional life. I've tried it, in the past. It usually blows up at one point or another. Um, but the interesting thing is, I feel like the girls like, because they obviously go out and they'll go out with the guys and this, that, and the other, and it's like, why are you booming around? Why are you boomeranging back round to me? Do you want to be part of this harem? Deep down, do you want to be in it? On some level, I don't know. Or do you want not part of it, but like, I don't know. Yeah, you never know. Do they see you as? Do they see me as being out of reach? And different girls will see you in different ways as well. Different girls will see you in different ways. So like, you be in one country, the girls see you one way. In one city, the girls see you a different way. Your home city, they see you a certain way. This is why travel is very important. Moving cities, moving around is very important because different people will see you in different ways. You go to one place, people might see you as a relaxed guy. Go to another place, they might see you as a hard ass. Go to another place, they might see you as a bit of a party guy. And it's all relative, depends on how they are, So yeah, but that's it's interesting with the girls how these different girls see you, and with the travel, I think it's a very cool thing when they see you in these different ways. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. The last thing I'll say here is the economics of dating, marriage, and an approach. I did a video on that the other day. That's probably worth checking out, the economics. With economics, I'm just talking about time and energy as scarce resources. This is actually why it's probably sensible for a lot of guys to have girlfriends, possibly including myself, because it's like the time and energy that you put into any particular woman is time and energy that you can't put somewhere else. If you got 20 women or 10 or 5, that's a lot of time and energy. It's a lot of time and energy. So a lot of guys, once they get into approach, let's say my friend Richie, he's hitting it hard at the moment, or he comes in and out, but he's kind of a bit similar to me in the sense he's realizing, like, if I actually want to really have a massive harem of chicks, I'm actually gonna have to like take time out of work. I'm gonna have to get a new structure in my business so that I can take time out of work and actually probably wouldn't actually probably be that fulfilling for him. So it's finding that balance. The times I've done the best have been when I've got the most amount of free time. So this summer, I'm actually going to have some free time on the horizon in July and August. So I'm going to be doing some more lives and actually getting some more footage out. It's been difficult in the recent months to do it, but I've still managed to do a bit. But also be able to enjoy myself as well. So yeah, that's something you can find with your job and work and stuff. If you have like downtime with work where you can take a bit of time out, that actually will help. It will help. But if you're not in that phase, then that's where girlfriends can actually be pretty useful. So I think that is everything on the live, boys. Are there any more questions? It was excellent to see all of these fucking questions earlier on. This was tremendous live. Super happy. Thanks for joining, everybody. If there's any further questions, just let me know in the next minute or two. Itoshi, thank you for saying hi. RJ, are you in Leeds, RJ? Because I see you a lot on these lives. You're quite a regular. Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm going to be out on Sunday night this weekend because we've got there's a dance night I'm going to go to. I don't know if I'm going to get footage there. At the moment, I can only really get footage when I go and meet up with some cold approach guys in Manchester. Um, I don't have like, I'm kind of keeping it a bit separate from my local people in Sheffield here because they probably think I'm strange enough the way I travel around the whole. I'm always constantly traveling to all these strange countries and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, can you come and video me going doing cold approach in the town centre? They're not the people to share this stuff with, so I go over to Manchester to do my approach videos. But it would be good if I could get some nighttime stuff this weekend, because there'll be some good nighttime stuff. It's bank holiday here Sunday, so Monday people have got off, so Sunday night's gonna be popping. And I might do a quick session on Saturday as well. I'd like to go tomorrow. I'd love to, but I've got too much shit to do. So I don't think I'll get out tomorrow day. No, probably won't be out till Saturday. So yeah, it looks like we've answered all the questions. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. I hope this has been valuable. Appreciate all the questions. Anyone watching this back, I'm Joseph. I'm the Wing Bro. I'm here to help with all things cold approach and relationship related. My channel is relatively new, but I'm an old guy with experience who's new to YouTube. So my experiences, I think, are in relation to what I've seen in the so-called male dating space. My relationships are probably my experiences are probably more advanced than a lot of those. A lot of people in there. The people I associate with are very legit guys. Like Ephraim, Christian, and Balthus. They're very legit, but not everyone is. So yeah, so this is my channel. Thank you for joining me. If you want to see more stuff, more perspectives on approach, or my life theories and stuff like that, you can see it on my channel. If you're interested in like immersive programs, you can see more stuff on those videos. I'm running immersions this summer, basically 3-day immersions where you go from whatever phase you're at with approach, you go to operator status within 3 days. So you will essentially get it down in 3 days, and then it becomes a question of embedding it, which is why I also offer a 90-day support with that program as well. So we're doing that this summer. Yeah, we've already got guys going out there hitting it with this who've been training with me recently, who are doing great things. So it's awesome. And yeah, just want to spread the love, spread the light. Girls love this, guys love it. And you know, this is what we need more of in the world. We need more guys reclaiming their own sense of self, reclaiming their own sense of freedom, doing what they want to do, and bringing that out of the woman. I think that's almost the most wonderful thing about this, is you realize the women want this, but then there's a second thing that kicks in where you think, oh my god, why have I been wasting all this fucking time with all this garbage, all this looks maxing? We could have been approach maxing, we could have been balls maxing, and that would have done a lot more for us. So yeah, I'm here to spread the word of cold approach. We'll leave things there. Peace, love. Josefsky, have a fantastic weekend. Get your approaches in, boys. And I'll catch you on the next one.